of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlong, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody driving out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat, Big Taco Tuesday with Guillermo Marino. Welcome, Guillermo. I'd like saying Guillermo. Do I say that properly?
Say it perfectly.
Guillermo.
Well, not
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Guillermo. Guillermo.
There you go.
Guillermo.
See, look at that.
Guillermo.
You're going to be in Spanish.
Guillermo. You can't stop me now. Guillermo. Guillermo. Oh, I like it.
You could be a...
Can you say Carlos?
Carlos.
Is that Carlos? You know that's my first name.
Carlos.
You know that's my first name? Carlos.
How are you not...
Alan Autry.
How are you not acting in Spanish soap operas with this great Spanish?
Okay.
Look at that.
No más. Me soy pequeño español.
You're going straight to Univision next. You're going to be on the silver...
¿Dónde está biblioteca?
Oh, man.
Hey, don't challenge me in Spanish. In fact, in German, you know, you can challenge, my mother taught me to count to 7 in German. Remember the 7 German?
Yeah, I've heard it, and it sounds like you're...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the 7 in German. Can you count to 3 in German?
No.
All right, let's get off of this bilingual stuff. Talk about the things of the day. We talk about the debate. What?
Bilingual stuff.
By what?
I think everybody needs to know.
Stock. Buy high, sell low.
You are in Spanish on YouTube.
I know, and my movie's doing great.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it's called El Perdón. El
Perdón.
El Perdón.
You got to say it like El Perdón.
You got to go there. We 2.5 million views.
That's awesome.
In just 7 months. So go there on YouTube. It's free, and then the English version is called Forgiven.
Yeah.
Plug it. And then 911 Lone Star season's going to start pretty soon. I got like 4 shows on that.
That's awesome.
Can't tell you how the character, quite a bit of screen time.
That's awesome.
Great crew there, great actors. Did a lot of work with Rafael Silva, just a fine, upstanding young man. A lot of scenes with him, and a fine actor. So we got those plugs in. I want to learn Spanish, though. That's in my bucket list.
Rosetta Stone.
Is that what you'd recommend?
No, it was hard. I was trying to learn Russian, and I just couldn't. I mean, they take you from like here to like level 20 in the first. Really? I was like, you just
see. I want the functional everyday Spanish. I want the, what do they call it? Spanglish.
Yeah, Spanglish.
I want that, but then they make these
just
things.
Add an O to everything.
This makes people lazy. You go on here. Yeah. You don't have to do math anymore. You figure out. You go in there and get the calculator.
Yeah.
And you go now. Okay,
you don't even have to memorize phone numbers anymore. Could you? Do you remember? I mean, could you call? Do you know your wife's? I know my wife's number. Yeah. Do you know all your kids' numbers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it takes me a while sometimes. I'll remember. Yeah.
See,
I do. I'm just going through it in my head, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Back in the day, you had to memorize numbers.
I have to stop and think. But you know, the one little solar flash, and all these are worthless. You know, there's not a paper backup for anything like at your bank. Do you know that it has your deposits on it? Not a paper backup. Everything's so. When the satellite goes out,
no, it's in the cloud.
Your money disappears.
No, it's in the cloud.
Yeah, how do you get it?
The cloud's always there.
Cloud. No, it's not.
The solar thing's not there.
If you can't get to it, it doesn't exist. It's like if you chop down a tree in the forest, nobody's there. Does it make a sound?
Yes.
I happen to agree with you.
Yeah, it does.
I had this stupid argument with somebody one time who said, "No, it does." I said, "Yes, it does. You're just not there to hear it."
That's so true.
And the other one used to drive me crazy. Okay, what come first, the chicken or the egg? It was always easy to me. God made a chicken and he laid an egg.
Yeah.
Chicken came before the egg. Right? There's nothing brain that you have to work on that like something befuddles you.
Yeah.
Right? Do you agree with that? Okay, let's move on to nothing as important as that, I guess. But we talked about the upcoming debate, which will be Thursday, day after tomorrow.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
I want to play a series of clips because it's a toss-up. Who's going to win? Biden could very well win re-election. Trump could win. But you're seeing because people, Trump supporters and us conservatives, we've lived in the hell of the Biden term. So it's like we don't want any more of it. We know that the continuation of many of these policies is just disaster for the country. We understand that, but I guess you just kind of tough it out and you hear something, you don't go apoplectic, you just roll up your sleeves and say, what can we do to turn around this inflation, make the border secure, end these wars? But the left's, the specter of a Trump administration is making, they're all saying it ain't paranoia if they're really after you. There's some folks that are very, very scared that Trump is going to exact his revenge. Now, he's come out and said the best revenge is success. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a great line. We talked about it on the show the other day. His handlers, I don't know if he came up with that or somebody said something to a meeting, but that's good. Succinct, powerful, just have. But a lot of people said that's not what he's going to do. He's going to do an all-out assault to go after his enemies. Whoever crossed him is going to be going to the archipelago, is going to be going to the Russian prison. Him and Putin already have the deal. He's going to be shipping them over there into the Donetsk region that they're going to win during the Ukrainian war, and they're going to go there and mine for vodka bottles or something. But you don't believe me? We're going to play a series. This is just a sampling of some of the folks that absolutely believe that Trump is coming after them to put them in prison or in front of a firing squad or worse. Let's start off with, I think Phil's got AOC.
AOC?
Up there.
Donald Trump wins. We are looking at the potential dissolution of democracy in the United States of America. It sounds nuts, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy threw me in jail. He's out of his mind. I mean, he did his whole first campaign around lock her up. This is his motto.
Okay, that's exhibit one of people losing their mind out of fear of Donald Trump. Let's go to the next clip we have in there. Oh, yes, Abby I happen to like it.
Or the enemy of the people, or Joe Schmo walking down the street.
This has been shorthanded as Maddow's afraid she's going to be thrown in jail. Jail, of course, is the extreme part of the spectrum. Imprisonment is an extreme part. But think about IRS audits. Think about government pressure on media companies. And frankly, Rachel Maddow's not the only member of the media thinking about this.
Oh, you mean like the IRS audits that Obama set for conservative nonprofits? You mean you're worried about that? It's okay. It's Brian Seltzer. I didn't even know he was back in CNN.
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
God, man. Okay.
These people are all guilty, by the way. All guilty. This
is my favorite. I'm gonna let you loose here after this. We got a third one for your viewing enjoyment. Then I want to hear the Serrant-a-lot. That's my nickname for Guillermo.
Vindictive that he will go after, however he has to, through the IRS maybe, or even through sponsors to get us off the air maybe.
Oh, they never do that.
How seriously should we be taking that?
Well, so I was asked, am I worried about me? And my answer was, I'm worried about all of us. I'm no more worried about me than I am worried about everybody in the country. I think it's bad to have somebody saying, give me as much power as you can in this country so I can use it to go after other Americans. So I can use it to go after these subhuman internal enemies and I'll destroy them. And I don't think anybody's safe if he decides that he's going to go after you or me or anybody who's well known. We have resources we'll likely be fine, but I think there's a pattern where he picks out individual people and effectively terrorizes them.
So, okay. When have you heard Trump say, I am going to go after the subhumans and put them in prison? Go ahead, Guillermo. What's your thoughts on it? These people are they're losing their mind. And isn't it take Sandy Hook out of it with Alex Jones, because that was just
weird. The guy was weird.
Yeah. But you put that aside as, if you can, as an outlier. Some of his conspiracy theories, would this not just fit right in? Isn't this Alex Jones's in a way that that you think they're actually, Maddow thinks that Trump is going to come back? Number one, that she thinks he's that important.
Yeah, but no, she's got money, so she's going to be fine.
Yeah,
that was the best part.
Trump really wants to go after the little guy.
Yeah,
he's going to.
She's not the little guy.
He's going to go after that plumber that supported Joe Biden. He's going to go after that farm laborer who came and put them in prison. The little guy that can't defend themselves. Yet they'll let little old ladies get cold-cocked on the streets of metropolitan cities. You know, the heavies beating up on the defenseless, and that seems acceptable. But Trump, if elected, is going to end democracy. How exactly do you do that as president? So give me all the power what president did not want more power? I mean, you get there and you say, boy, I did as mayor. I said, boy, I wish I had the ability to do this and that. That's a natural thought.
Yeah.
If your heart's in the right place. I mean, what do you think about this? This is just insanity.
Well, just listening to the clips is kind of hilarious because they're like, I'm going to get canceled. The IRS are going to come after me. And it's like, wait a minute, what do you think everybody else on the right has been feeling? I mean, we've had to deal with this for the last 3 years. We've been getting canceled. The IRS has been coming after. I mean,
and isn't that an emotionally rational response that that to be true?
Well, I think
that your people, your guys in office, from Obama started this, that that they did these things undeservedly, going after people and canceling people because of their political beliefs. You knew that. You know
exactly.
that. So now you're sure that this other person who disagrees with you is going to come after you because that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what your people do, that you somehow rationalize is not a threat to democracy, is somehow good for America. America's stronger when the left picks out people that they want to pick off and imprison and throw the book and bring up 34 felonies that don't exist. That's okay.
I've gone on this many times. The right needs to calm down with the Joe Biden's going to end democracy as we know it, and the left needs to come down and say democracy is going to end it. Democracy is not ending. It doesn't matter who's in power. The way our system is set up. I mean, we're coming up on our 250th birthday. Okay.
So am I.
Yeah.
Look pretty good.
And you look good.
I look good for
you look great. You look great. Hey, by the way, fun little factoid: at Mount Vernon, they found cherries underneath George Washington's somewhere the quarters. They were perfectly preserved. Yeah. Anyhow, all right, but so you could have 250-year-old cherries. Like this guy's just But listen,
but did he chop down the tree?
No.
Huh?
No.
Sure, he did. He said, "I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree."
But
you don't believe that?
I do not.
We were taught that in school.
No, he didn't chop it down.
No. Was school the first internet? For us boomers? Well, my teacher told me that, so I got to believe it.
No, but listen here. Democracy is not ending, and that has been the beauty of America and this experiment. The people that say democracy
didn't Fidel Castro say that? In 1961?
No, it's not.
When he was getting Juan Batista kicked out?
I
think he said that.
No. Do you think it would happen here in America?
Oh, easy.
At some point.
Easy.
No, I don't.
Oh, God, they already do it. Look how they've infiltrated the legal system, this lawfare. Look how they've infiltrated the departments. The deep state does exist. We know 51 people, high-ranking officials, said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. You've got the FBI going in, collaborating with tech, with
Facebook, social media.
Saying, hey, knowing full well that the laptop is real, telling, hey, there's going to be some Russian disinformation coming down the pike here. I mean, you see this polluting because that's what third world countries do. But they get inside the institutions and then they step by step take over those institutions. I mean, you look at our school system; it's become more about protecting the teachers and teachers' unions. And I'm big pro-education, pro-teacher, but it is what it is. And I think you're seeing it with judges. I don't know exactly what the fix would be, but it's absolutely, the reason for years you didn't see border security is because, and it's a factor still today, is where all that cartel money leads. You can bet your bottom dollar it's going to lead to some fannies sitting in seats in Congress. No, 100%. How many? Can't put a number on it, but I guarantee you, Sacramento as well. As mayor, you pick up a few things. That's why there's not That's why there's not this big push to have comprehensive immigration reform. That's why they don't want. Wouldn't it be the idea to go in and cleanse, see if the legal immigration system is working? Why it takes so long to get here legally, and then you find out application 1 costs $300, application 2 is $400. You get through, the average is $1,200 worth of applications, of which less than 1% get approved. And isn't it ironic? Don't you find it kind of odd that the going rate for a coyote to get you over here illegally is $1,200? So inside the system, you say no, but you're slipped a number. We can't let you in. You fill all these applications. We got your $1,200. But show this coyote. The bureaucrat kicks back $300-$400 to the coyote, and times 100 gets in your truck, and that's why human trafficking has replaced drug smuggling as the number one source of revenue for the cartels. And it's a rotten system with tentacles and this isn't Alex Jones stuff. This is just common sense reality. And that's why you won't have the government doing what they're supposed to do. So when you see these overt betrayals of democracy, of a true free country, and these institutions getting polluted and poisoned, then Mexico is supposed to be a democracy. But you see, it's very difficult to.
That's a good point.
And the thing is, right now, the one guard against that, over our years since our inception, was a very focused, committed to American principles of freedom and honesty and integrity and protecting our country first, was the military. You get the military, you run the country. And so far you had people that went in to become generals and colonels and high-ranking officials that were subordinate to the president. You are the commander-in-chief. Okay, we don't care about politics. We're here to protect America and Americans. Now you're seeing the politicization of the military, where back in World War II, I think there was just a few dozen generals. Now they got tons of generals. They've grown that bureaucracy, and they've become very, very political.
We're too big to fail, Alan.
Well, I think
I don't see it. We're too big, and we're too blessed.
I think we're too big. Sometimes I'm going to change that. You know what? I understand when you say too big to fail, but I do believe at times you can be too big not to fail. You can become too big not to fail. They did that. They're grappling with that in China. We don't have 1.5 billion people. India's grappling with it. They just surpassed China as the most populous country in the world, being so big that that's why you have, we had states. They knew you could get too big. The king was the king. Over the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom referred to the king, not the United States. They broke up that power. But still, the federal government supersedes pretty much any state right. Push comes to shove with the military. So a state may say, hey, this is unconstitutional, but that's when you own the Supreme Court and you own the judicial system and the interpretation of that Constitution gives you more power, that federal government, who runs the military. That's the ace in the hole. That's why you got to guard the federal government, making sure it does not become corrupt or corrupt beyond repair. And I think we're getting so close to that. Then but go ahead, tell me.
Logistically, I mean, let's figure this out, because when they say democracy is going to end, first of all, we're not a democracy. We're a representative republic. So that we're not, democracy means everybody votes all the time and it's a majority.
We put our
majority,
trust in others to make those decisions.
Exactly.
We vote for them, and yeah.
So logistically, how would this work? Let's just take Ocasio-Cortez. Let's say Trump becomes president. He would literally have to not have either chamber in the House, or he'd have to have a unified government. He would then have to tell all the senators and Congress on the House members, I'm in charge, not you. Y'all go home. All right? I'm closing down your legislative session. How is he going to control the money? Mm-hmm. Congress carries the purse. And then he'd have to walk the other side right behind the Capitol, and you'd have to go to the Supremes and say, hey, there's not going to be any terms. No terms this year. You're hearing no cases. Y'all go back home. And he's going to go to the military, and he's going to tell them, you're going to stand in front of the Capitol, you're going to stand in front of the Supreme Court, and you're not going to let anybody in. I'm in charge. Mm-hmm. I'm the new sheriff in town. And all of a sudden, no one's going to sigh a peep, and Donald Trump's going to be essentially a dictator.
I don't think it's going to happen like that. I think it's going to happen. It's like China. China doesn't want to invade and take over the world. They want to control the world. There's a big difference. Controlling the world. And they're doing it. They followed the American game plan on how to do that. After World War II, we went everywhere. We made things. We made all of the stuff made in America was huge. Made in China was cheap. Made in Japan was known as cheap. And they went out to other countries and they bought off people to embrace American policy in trade and what have you. They put military bases pretty much all over the world. Mm-hmm. And so you own these countries basically. What happened is they started getting behind too many nefarious characters, like the Shah of Iran and these other folks that turned the people against them, against America, and we've been paying for that quite dearly. But China's done that. They've gone over. They go and they send their kids over here to get educated so they know from the inside out. They give tons of this Belt and Road Initiative. Yeah. They go into countries, they build airports. See, that's a big thing Australia and China, because Australia's pushing back. They're building these ports and airports, and they own it. It's like the guy told the guy that had McDonald's, the guy, who was the guy, Ray Kroc. The guy that advised him, he says, you're looking at this all wrong. You think you're selling hamburgers. No, it's real estate. So what he did, part of the business model was, if you got the franchise, you had to find the land. McDonald's bought the land, so they owned the real estate. You sell the hamburgers, but you pay us rent. Yeah, we own the land that your building's on. That's what China's doing, buying up farmland everywhere around the world, buying it, building ports. Yeah, you can land your planes here in Australia. But we can tell you what to pay, how much to pay, when to pay. We're going to control you. Mm-hmm. They've learned a lot from the United States, how we did things, what we did right, what we did wrong. So I think a political party is looking to control the United States government, not own it, and you just got to follow the money. Right now we're probably at the most dangerous place for democracy, but it's not from the Republicans and Democrats. It's a crisis of that. It's a crisis of integrity. Can you be bought? And most people can be bought. And they're being bought by high tech. They've been bought by the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elon Musks of the world, these folks that are. Do you realize that Microsoft, I heard the other day, is this close to becoming a $4.5 trillion company? Do you realize that means they are worth more than the entire United States of America? One company. Apple's right behind them. Man. So you get into office now, you say, well, you get paid for this. Why do you, so much money for this and that? That's the whole thing. They're going after the Bidens. How did Joe get so rich, this and that? They serve as a senator, a congressman. They pass policies that are very friendly to these social media giants. Then when they get out, the payback is you get to be a consultant or you sit on their board. You ever wonder why they get these boards with 100 people on the board? These are all being paid back favors. And you notice most of them have former congressman, former senator, former state official behind it. I mean, it's follow the money. Our government is being bought and paid for by these giant companies, social media companies, that are dealing with amounts of money that completely boggle the mind. And here's the other thing. We take Bezos and Musk going into outer space as private companies. That's where the next frontier is. You control outer space. You're able to control satellites. You're able to control information as a private company. It is capitalism run amok. Now, do I love to say it? Yeah. But you got to also understand, and our forefathers knew this, that capitalism only works if you have integrity in your population. He said these freedoms will only work on a moral people. And you have people that, like, where's the Harry Trumans who left office? He didn't take anything. You couldn't buy him. Abe Lincoln, you couldn't buy him. But I hate to say it, but it's true. The old saying, the truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable. That's the threat to democracy, and we're right in the bowels of it. And I don't know, there has to be a coming back to our conscience, our national conscience of who we are as Americans, and that's what you're taught in school. That's why it's so important to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Why it's important to be taught manners. It's why we're taught to open the door for an elderly person. That's why I was taught that there were certain lines socially, how we spoke to each other, that you were taught that the Judeo-Christian ethics were a good foundation for a lasting country.
Yeah.
And we've gotten away from that. And that's why I think it could, I mean, we're looking at it right now. Look at the dominoes with the Trump deal. You got an attorney general that's politicized, Merrick Garland, going after Trump, collaborating with a DA funded by George Soros, who hates America, who said, I ran on, I'm going to go after Trump. That would have been anybody else saying, I'm going to go after this with no proof, yet I'm going to get him. Okay, you bring him in there. He's bought and paid for by Soros. Attorney General's bought and paid for. He's going to get a book deal, Merrick Garland, off of this deal. Then you get the guy who is the number 3 guy at the DOJ, the number 3 guy leaving his job to go work with Alvin Bragg on the prosecution on Trump on these charges. Then you get a jury. A Constitution says we're supposed to have a trial by a group of our peers, 12 of our peers. Those 12 peers, when 90% of the people voted for Joe Biden, you have it in New York, one of the. So you see that one microcosm, which I think was a reflection and a wake-up call to all of us, because Trump said something very, very, very profound. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says, folks, believe me. But he says, they're coming after you. I'm just standing in the way. And I think you probably have to be a little bit crazy to have done what he's done, to take on the media and still be standing.
Yeah.
Who else could have done this? Folded under, I mean, he's going to be in court forever, with the specter of life in prison. I mean, you're seeing it play out, how rotten our system has become. Now, how deep does that rot go? To the local governments, state governments. We live in California. We see how rotten they go. So I understand what you're saying. I just think it's being the almighty buck. The money is just so seductive to people that you can buy just about anything and anybody. And they got the trillions to throw around, and they're willing to do it. And then you got the deal, well, China's doing it, we ought to do it. Used to be, well, America was the standard. We want the freedoms they have in America. Now they go, being a tyrant's not that bad. We'll try that little hybrid. I mean, you hear the guy up in Canada saying that. I wish I had Xi Jinping's power. You heard him say that.
Yeah.
Oh, Trudeau. Anyway, do you have anything? Interrupt me, please.
Man. Well, listen, and I know it's going to come out, and people are going to be like, we're already going down that road. Unfortunately, as long as you have elections, and as long as people actually have the right to vote, I think it's going to be pretty hard to keep up this type of corruption. I mean, if you get rid of elections, well, then yeah, I think then the American representative democracy then just ends, and then I think that could lead to some kind of demise of our constitutional principles. But absent that, as long as you still have the right of people to make their voice heard, I still don't see it.
I agree. We got a shot. No, I agree that gives us a shot.
And Alan,
to recapture some of the principles that this country was founded upon and protect democracy to a certain degree. I agree. It gives us a shot.
Yeah, and America is blessed. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at the founding of our country, when you look at the odds that those men were up against and those women were up against.
But
go ahead.
Well, yeah, but they outwardly and openly express their reliance upon, acknowledge the existence of God and their reliance upon God. I mean, in the Constitution, we find these truths to be self-evident. Everyone endowed by their Creator. But then you get school prayer taking the option to have school prayer taken out in 1960. You had all this removal of God, Pledge of Allegiance. What school says the Pledge of Allegiance now? One nation under God, indivisible. Anything to do with God. And if you're a Bible-believing person, it's full of stories about countries and individuals who started out acknowledging God and relying upon God and departed from that. And God took the hand of blessing from them. I mean, Israel, they were to the point where they didn't exist anymore. You know, they started fighting amongst themselves and broke into Israel and Judah. Babylon come in, it just totally destroyed. And you see that through the Bible many, many times, that if you're obedient, you rely upon God, He can help you get through anything. Like George Washington, the first thing he did before he took office was kneel and pray. Mm. The same George Washington that was fleeing from the British said if they would have caught him on that day before he crossed the Delaware, they would have caught him, game over. But then a fog came in and confused the British soldiers in a season where it never gets foggy. Never gets foggy. And, coincidence? Yeah. I know we don't believe that. But you had a group of folks in a country who openly said, we're going to dedicate this country to godly principles. Mm. Why is that important? Because if you believe in individual rights, rights given by God are different from God's given by man. I could tell Guillermo, I'm going to have you, you can write, or Guillermo can tell me, you have a right to do this on the show, Alan, this on the show, and this, but you can't do this, this, and this. Well, he's man. He's his place. He owns it. And he either say, I can do it or not, I'm going to do it. We're not. God's rights that are not given by man. Dictators and kings and emperors ruled the world. You're one of those three, with different names. But it was like a singular source of power, and it was a human being telling other human beings what rights they had and what rights they didn't have. Nobody had ever had a country built on God's rights, saying that you are born with the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You're born with the right not to have your head chopped off if you disagree with the government. You have a right to speak your mind, liberty, without being thrown in prison. You have a right to pursue a better life for yourself if you work hard, pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
You have a God-given right that man can't take from you because they're God-given, they're eternal. They built this country on those principles. So when you see somebody coming in going, I'm a believer, we're also a nation of laws. I get that. There was the 10 Commandments. Jesus said, I didn't come to destroy the law, I came to fulfill it. But we know what those laws are over. Yeah, you got to put a stop at a traffic light, pay your taxes, this sort of thing. But you don't have a right to throw somebody in prison because you don't like what they're saying. And that's what they do in China, what they do, and they're starting to do it in India, what they do in North Korea, what they do in Iran. That's why we got to support Israel. Israel's the only country that they didn't do that. They're the only true representative democracy like us in the Middle East. The only one. The rest have men telling other men, other people what to do. Is that worth preserving or not? Because this country's going to have to make its mind up. Okay? We're going to have to make our mind up, and I think the answer to this question is going to be, Guillermo and listeners and viewers, I truly believe this, is going to determine whether we survive as a country. Are the words, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, are they just words that are to be uttered kind of mindlessly, emotionally, rotely? Or are they sacred principles that should and must be defended, even with the ultimate sacrifice of your own life? Our founding fathers answered that question with a resounding yes. Over in Normandy, they just celebrated a bunch of brave soldiers who said, yes, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for my kids and grandkids is worth me getting off of this boat and running into a hail of bullets. And I may die to defend those principles because I don't want my kids growing up under this dictator, some man with a little mustache saying who has a right to live or not and who should be exterminated or not. That's not right. That's not godly. You don't run from it. You stand up to it. Those were sacred principles, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And my fear in our country is in too many instances, they're just, if you say them at all, they're just kind of words that feel good to say sometimes. Are you willing to lose your job for that? Not many people are. Are you willing to lose a friend to stand up against this onslaught against individual liberties? Whether you like the person or not, wrong is wrong, right is right. You've heard people say that. Almost everybody says that. It can't be just for the people you like. Mm-hmm. I dealt with Trump for 9 months. I can't particularly say I like him. My face says I love all human beings. I try to do that. I'm not saying I like him. Not they're not to like. But I can also say what they're doing to him is wrong. And it's not only bad for Donald Trump, it's bad for the country. It's not only a threat to his freedom, it's a threat to all of our freedoms if you let a government get away with stacking the deck like this against a human being, clearly acting like a dictatorship, an abuse of power at the very least, and probably bordering on corruption, more accurate of a description. And that's why, Jesus said to the disciples, when he's asking him who he was, and he said he liked to use parables. He says, you look out over the ocean, and you see dark clouds, you see it coming your way, and you say a storm is going to be here. It's not here now, but you see the signs. You know it's coming your way. And that's unfortunately what I see with this country. Yes, we still have a good semblance of a democracy left, representative government, that's been the envy of the world. But you see things coming with this thing in New York, with all of these political prosecutions, because it's not a prosecution, it's a persecution. You prosecute real crimes. You persecute people with made-up crimes. The old saying, I think of Joseph Stalin, says, show me the person, I'll show you the crime. Or I'll show you the crime, I'll show you the person, whatever, you know what I mean?
Show me the person, I'll show you the crime.
But I tell you, I want to end, though, and I want to let you to, I love your unwavering belief in this country, especially a guy your age is going to inherit. I'm going to be long gone when you have a lot of your life left to live, Guillermo. I'm not going to get all sappy here, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Look right in your eyes, tell you. I not only admire it, you inspire me to be more confident in it, because it doesn't do my time on earth good, because I want God to use me in a positive way. Yes, on this radio, wake people up. I'm not here to entertain. Maybe I'm here to wake up people. Okay, got that. But we got to hang on to that hope. We got to hang on that we're still the best hope this world has for a better planet, and it's our individual freedoms to protect that. And so I just want to commend you, because you have brought me back many times. Even though you pointed out all the challenges here locally, there's a thread of optimism and a thread of belief in this country that you're not going to let go of. And I'd say, Lay Blessing, don't you ever let go of it. No matter how much I ran that it's hopeless, you start bringing that.
You gave some pretty depressing facts in the show, but and they're not. You're not wrong, but just
depressing.
Just depressing.
A lot of people that are right are depressing.
Well, you look at our history, you look at our founding documents, and you look at the American people, and sometimes we can't get along, and we're divided, and sometimes, gosh, it looks like the world is coming down on us, but. You've heard that saying, it's not green. The grass ain't greener on the other side. It's a beautiful country.
Certainly not in Gaza.
Yeah, no kidding. This is a beautiful country, and I think our best days are ahead of us. And if we're not in charge of the world, and if we don't police the world, someone else will.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. People, we're not the policeman. Somebody's got to lead. It's never going to be equal.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a power, whether it's a family, an organization, and any group of people, there's going to be leaders that people look up to, want to be led. Same with the world landscape. Would you rather have Xi Jinping,
police
Putin,
the world,
Kim Jong-un, or the American president, whoever that is right now? I think there's enough left of America that you would resoundingly say America if you value freedom. I love you, brother.
Hey, I love you too.
Love you, Phil. All the listeners and viewers, I love you so much. Thanks for taking time to tune in. Appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Just remember to do your best. Let God do the rest. I promise you, it may not turn out the way you want it for right now, but I promise you, it will turn out the best for you. Just trust God. Give him that trust. He'll never let you down. Love y'all. See you on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
One of those days.
One of those days.
Love y'all. Bye-bye now.